What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Post to Post podcast. This week's episode is episode 39. With me, as always, my co-host Matt Small. How's your week, buddy?
Oh, it's been going well. Busy week. But here we are, Thursday, not Friday, getting this done. So you going to the Cape tomorrow? That's why we're doing it Thursday, huh?
Yeah, I'm actually going to a concert before we go down the Cape, too. We're going to see Kings of Leon.
Oh,
And,
okay.
I don't know if you know Cold War kids, too. We're seeing them, too. Yeah. They're just like
opening doing a
for them.
concert down there.
No, it's in Xfinity Center in Mansfield.
Oh, and then you go into the... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you were asking me to do Thursday, I thought you said the concert was down the Cape. I was like, oh, that's interesting that they did that.
Yeah, so definitely glad we're getting to do this because I heard that the last 2 weeks of shows, I think they canceled because COVID was getting kind of nuts in some other states.
Oh, really?
But yeah, this is their first one back, so it'll be good to see.
It's crazy.
But we do have a lot to cover this week, so we'll probably get right into our division breakdown, right?
Oh, yeah.
This week, we're going to be doing our first week of breakdowns. Today is August 26th. We'll be dropping this episode for you on Monday, August 30th, and we're going to start with the Pacific Division here.
Right. So this is everything that currently right now is in place for these teams and what they look like.
So we'll start with the Anaheim Ducks with the subtractions from their team. We have Ryan Miller, the goalie, that retired this season. Danton Heinen, the forward that used to play in Boston, and Hayden Fleury, gone. He's a defenseman for them. They added Mason McTavish, and they re-signed Ryan Getzlav and Max Comtois. Anything quick, or do you want me to run through what you wrote?
No, I can run through it.
Perfect. So this will be Mason McTavish's first year in the NHL. He was drafted third overall in last year's NHL draft and signed an entry-level deal with the Ducks. Last year he played in the Swiss League due to the OHL canceling its season due to COVID, racked up 9 goals and 2 assists in 13 games. With Ryan Miller retired, we have John Gibson and Anthony Stolarz in the between the pipes this season. Anaheim is coming off one of their worst seasons, 8th in the Honda West Division, second to last in the league. They haven't made any big moves that they should have this offseason, and Max Comtois being the team's biggest scorer with 16 goals, 55 games, and the team's second biggest, Adam Henrique, 12 goals in 45 games, is not going to help Anaheim win games, even with the newly acquired scorer in McTavish. We talked about teams going through a rebuild, and this team needs one, but it's not really making any moves to do so. We expect to see the same type of season this upcoming season, even if Anaheim starts making moves right before the beginning. October 13th against the Winnipeg Jets will be their first game. And, yeah, I completely agree with your breakdown here.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny going through the Pacific because as you're going to see, the more we talk about this, there's a lot of teams in the Pacific that just had a rough go last year and even the previous years. So we're going to talk about a bunch of teams that almost on the brink of needing to do a whole fucking rebuild, and and Anaheim's one of them. I remember Anaheim being back in 2007 when they won the Stanley Cup against Ottawa. Man, they were just a force to be reckoned with, and then all of a sudden after that they just started falling apart. I mean, for years they had the veteran guys on their team. They didn't have the young guys, the young legs. Versus teams like Vegas, it's just not gonna work. Ryan Getzlav was how old? Ryan Miller was how old before retiring? You need those younger guys coming in. You need to revamp your team. You need to and Anaheim was just not looking good. They didn't make the right moves, I think. They made some moves, but not the right moves in my opinion. But you never know. It's still the off season. They could make some moves, and I don't know.
I think we're going to see in the Pacific Division that, like you just said, there's definitely clear outliers of guys that are, this team is not making the playoffs, and this team should make the playoffs.
Right,
so
exactly.
I think this is one of those divisions that it's very cut and dry, like, here's your top 4, here's your bottom 4. Looking at the roster, like you were just saying, they're a very old team and a very young team at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Anaheim really focused on that middle ground where they have a player in their prime that's going to be their stud all-star to carry their way through so they don't have to rebuild. But now where you have old going out and new coming in, you kind of have no choice but to kind of bank on the draft and develop these young players. Like last season, they were one of the teams that had a lot of their AHL guys up towards the end of the season.
Right,
so,
right.
Like even Trevor Zegras ended up coming in late,
right.
and he's playing on the top line now.
Exactly. Which you don't want. Like Trevor Zegras, great player. Second, third line, especially as a newcomer.
I mean, it's not that you don't want it. It's that you're giving him a lot of responsibility early in his career, and he's going to have to either get used to it or break and fall apart. But I think he's one of those those highly touted players, like not to the same level, but like a Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid, those guys that are going to come into the league and be able to put up top line minutes.
Right, exactly.
Do you want to tackle Calgary Flames next?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so Calgary Flames, they lost Mark Giordano, who's a defenseman, Derek Ryan, forward, and Josh Levo, who's a forward. They added Blake Coleman, who's a forward, Nikita Zadorov, a defenseman, and Dan Vladar, who's a goalie. Calgary Flames finishing 5th in the Scotia North Division, 20th in the league last season, is a team that, due to the division changes last season, have fallen by the wayside. Facing Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Montreal, who ran the Scotia North Division last season, didn't give this team much of a spotlight, but is a team nonetheless that is a playoff contender. In the 2018-2019 season, they clinched the Western Division in first place and second overall in the league, and is currently sitting at the brick wall at the finish line we talked about a few episodes ago. Johnny Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm, Andrew... Oh, God, this is going to... All these names kill me. Mangiapane, and Matthew Tkachuk being the top scorers, ranging from 16 to 19 goals for the 56-game season last season, can be expected to give the Flames the same tally and more next season. With the additions of scorer Blake Coleman, who had 14 goals and 17 assists last season, and Nikita Zadorov, a skilled playmaker with 1 goal and 7 assists, the Flames team is looking to break down that wall and will be a team to watch out for this coming season. When I was breaking down this team, the Calgary Flames, if you go back, man, like, last season was different. It was the whole North, so you had like all the Canadian teams facing each other, and again, when you have the Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens come out of left field and just being the absolute like crazy team and crazy playoff run that they are, and Toronto Maple Leafs and Winnipeg Jets, they're a good team. They just, because of constantly playing those 4 teams, like it was a rough like uphill battle for them. But now that it's kind of back, it's gonna be back to normal next season. They're gonna have better chances against, rougher teams like the Anaheim Ducks, as we just talked about. I think that's going to bring them right back up to where they are. And, again, they're at that brick wall. We talked about that wall at the finish line a few episodes ago, if you remember that. And there's a few of these teams, when I was doing the breakdown, that are at that wall. And I think Calgary needs to find a way to, break down the wall and cross that finish line. It's going to be... They're going to maybe get to the playoffs, but they're not like at the team that they have now is just not like a playoff contending team. But they definitely have the spark. They definitely have the guys to start it at least. So definitely a team to look out for next season. I think they're going to do a lot better than they did the previous season and kind of make headway in the NHL here.
Well, I discussed this real quick. I want you to make a note real quick and see who you think your 4 in the playoffs and who you think your 4 out of the playoffs are for this division real quick. Personally, I think that this team is going to make the playoffs this year. I think the additions and subtractions that they had is huge. Mm-hmm. Mark Giordano was getting older. He was your captain. You lost him in the expansion draft. Derek Ryan and Josh Levo, not too crazy of losses. Blake Coleman is a huge addition on the front. Nikita Zadorov is a huge addition in defense, and Dan Vladar is looking pretty good as a prospect goalie to get up there and, get some solid ice time.
Right.
They lost David Riddick mid-season last season. Jacob Markstrom is clearly, far and away your starter, definitely one of the better goalies in the league. I think that this team has the jive and the groove to get it done, and I think they're built to make a decent run, especially coming out of this division, because they're built to be strong and heavy and not so much, finesse. They have like their Johnny Gaudreau, and Blake Coleman's a good addition, but I think he's more of like a well-rounded player. So
right,
and even with Lucic, I think they're built for a playoff run. So, did you get your 4 teams done or?
No.
Okay.
If you want to move on, I can get it for you.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm just
that's
going
good.
through the teams. Yeah.
But for now, I definitely see Vegas being in. I see Calgary getting in sneakily. Seattle, I think, is getting in with the Philip Grubauer addition that we'll get into. And I think Edmonton's getting in. Vancouver, me, it's between Vancouver and Calgary that one of those 2 might not make it. Well, obviously won't, but. All right, moving right along here. We're done with Calgary. Edmonton Oilers, a lot of moves here. For subtractions, they lost Adam Larson on defense, Ethan Bear on defense, Caleb Jones on defense, and James Neal on forward. That's a lot of D to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up adding Zach Hyman as a forward, Duncan Keith on defense, Cody Ceci on defense, and Warren Fogle as a forward. Duncan Keith, I believe they overpaid as an older guy. Cody Ceci was kind of waxed last season. I feel like he kind of got exposed on the team that he was on. He was kind of the scapegoat. I forget where he came from, maybe Toronto. But anyways, coming off a terrific season, second in the Scotia North Division and 11th overall, but they got swept in the first round by the Winnipeg Jets. This Oilers team is stacked and an almost all-around team that can make a push in the playoffs. They've shown in this offseason that they're ready to try and raise the cup again, like the last time they did in 1990, picking up guys like Zach Hyman, who had 15 goals, 18 assists with Toronto, a playmaker like Cody Ceci and Warren Fogle, who can be that all-around player that can make plays and give you at least 10 goals a season. As for goaltending, Mike Smith coming off of his best season statistically in 15 years with a 21-6-2 record, a .923 save percentage, with Koskinen coming off his worst with a 13-13 record, .899 save percentage. With that said, Edmonton's back in March. They claimed Alex Staylock off of waivers from Minnesota. He was coming to one of his most played season with 38 games, a record of 20-11-4, and a .910 save percentage. It'd be a better option to have to back up Mike Smith this coming season, I think, too. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a team to watch who might have a solid run for the Cup.
Right. Again, I have Edmonton, so I'll go back to the four that I think. Mm-hmm. I got almost the same thing, I think. I can't remember what you said. So I got Calgary, San Jose, Edmonton, and the Kraken. Unfortunately, the Kraken, a brand new team.
No Vegas, huh?
We'll
get into that later, but you don't want Vegas in there?
I messed that up. Sorry. Vegas was that fourth one, not the Kraken.
Not the Kraken.
I have the Kraken not being in there.
Okay, you think San Jose is making playoffs?
Yeah, so
cool. All right.
But yeah, so I got Vegas, Edmonton, San Jose, and Calgary going to make the playoffs. I do not think the Kraken, LA, or Anaheim or Vancouver is going to make it. And the only reason why I don't think Kraken is going to make it, we're going to get into it, but they came into the league with the draft not like the Vegas Golden Knights, where the Golden Knights took all the players they could and just ran with it, whereas the Kraken, we saw right away, draft players and then send them right back to like their teams like Vitek Vanacek, trading players for draft picks for the next few seasons. Like already they're looking like a team that's just going to like start, figure things out, and just build from there. I think this season with the Kraken is just going to be a fail-out season. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay. We'll get more into that later, but looking at the Oilers, what do you think there?
So for the Oilers, again, I love this team. When you go back to like the 2006, am I wrong? 2004. And remember the series with Carolina Hurricanes and Edmonton Oilers? I want to see that kind of Edmonton Oilers team, and we're getting close. Great all-around team, man. Zach Hyman was an excellent pickup. Zach Hyman was one of the best players for Toronto Maple Leafs. So that one pickup, too, is just going to help him out. Duncan Keith's been a great defenseman. Cody Ceci for the Pittsburgh Penguins when he was playing was all around the ice, man. Great playmaker for Edmonton Oilers. He'll be there to help the guys out in Edmonton score those goals that they need. And Warren Fogle coming from the Carolina Hurricanes, another big name coming into the Edmonton Oilers. So they're looking stacked. And especially losing Adam Larson, Ethan Bear, Caleb Jones, and James Neal, I think they gained a lot more than they lost. So I think they're going to be looking really good next season.
I see that the other way. Now, I understand that Bear was the scapegoat and you kind of had to get rid of him the same way that you brought CC in for being a scapegoat on the other team.
Right.
But I think the upside defensively, you had Larson, Bear, and Caleb Jones. I like them a lot better than I like Duncan Keith and Cody Ceci in this day and age.
Right.
Like, I would have loved Duncan Keith 10 years ago. And, I mean, I don't know. And James Neal is huge for them on the front end. Zach Hyman should make up for it. I think that Toronto sold high on him and got good value back for him.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. But I just – there's something about Edmonton. I think they're bugged. And I think Toronto's bugged too. And I don't think either of them are going to make a decent cup run for a while.
It's going to be a big thing, too, is team chemistry. You could take one of the best players in the league and send it to a team and think like, oh my God, this guy's going to like rack it up. And just because of team chemistry alone, just guys that can't work with like that kind of caliber player, like, just doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to take a quick look at the top line there. I know it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Puljujarvi. Actually, I'm sorry. It's McDavid, Hyman, and Puljujarvi now. Draisaitl, Hopkins, and Yamamoto on the second line.
Okay.
And then Fogle slots in the third. And then on the defensive pairings, they have Darnell Nurse, one of the best defensemen in the league. They locked him up for big money. And Tyson Barrie. And then the second line is the two new guys, Duncan Keith and Cody Ceci, which is probably a good thing.
Right.
They don't really have to worry about like defensive line pairing chemistry in that regard.
Right.
So that'll be kind of nice, you know. So yeah,
they could both work with each other, you know, not being from the team, just figure each other out on that second line.
Exactly.
Yep.
And now instead of having, if they were split up with two different Edmonton guys, you have two lines that you're worried about chemistry now, rather than one when you put them together. So, so yeah.
So how do you feel about this team?
I think they're going to make playoffs. I don't think they're going to go far. I think Edmonton and Toronto are like the same team for some reason. I don't know what it is, but like you look at McDavid, Draisaitl, you have Marner Matthews, and you look at net. It's always been kind of a question mark. Mike Smith kind of stood on his head last season.
Yeah.
Mike Smith.
Yep.
Yeah, and he went over to Calgary now. I mean, yeah.
No, Mike Smith is still on the team.
Oh, he's still with Edmonton. That's right. Yeah, I mean, he kind of stood on his head last season, but I don't think you're going to get a repeat from him.
No.
So, yeah, moving right along here, right?
Yep.
LA Kings, you want to tackle this one? Or you want me to take care of it?
Sure. I'll get it. So I'm doing everything on my phone. It's freaking out here. All right, so the LA Kings, they lost Curtis McDermott, and that is it. They also added Philip Denault, Victor Arvidsson, Alexander Edler, and Brent Clark. So Brent Clark was selected 8th overall this season, this year. In this year's draft, before playing overseas last season because of COVID, Clark in his rookie year played in the OHL for the Barrie Colts, where he posted 38 points in 57 games, which is 6 goals and 32 assists. He led all rookie defensemen in points and assists and finished second in goals. So that should tell you a lot about Brent Clark, who I remember seeing that name, like, who the hell is this guy? But moving on, so as for the Kings, they finished 6th in the Honda West Division and 25th in the league. This team has not looked good since the 2015-2016 season, where they finished 2nd in the Pacific Division and lost in the first round of the playoffs against San Jose. With the 3 big pickups of Denault, Arvidsson, and Edler, it's definitely a move to get out of the rut that they're in. A full team rebuild is not needed for what the Kings have. They just need the right moves and signs to get this team back on top of the standings, and I believe these 3 are going to help them get there. With Vegas, Edmonton, and possibly Seattle taking the reins in the Pacific, I wouldn't expect to see this team in the playoffs for another 2 or 3 seasons if they keep up the good moves and signs. So I think LA is getting there. They're falling, but not at the same time. It's like they're catching themselves and like they're just like trying to like keep climbing, but they keep like falling down. And I think great pickups. Philip Denault was that was Montreal, right?
Yeah, he was huge for Montreal.
Great pickup there. Victor Arvidsson, great pickup. Alexander Edler, again Brent Clark, eighth overall draft pick here. So they're getting the guys in that they need. And again, I'm probably not playoff contender for another 3 years. I think you're gonna want to see Brent Clark kind of figure the NHL out and get his steps in the league and go from there. But I think this is a great step for the LA Kings, and hopefully we see him back as playoff contenders.
And I think this is another scapegoat we have here. Curtis McDermott leaving. That's definitely a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of these guys are huge names to sign. Well, 3 of the 4. Brent Clark is kind of new.
Right.
But the other 3 are going to be huge additions to the team. I love their what they have going right now. Alex Iafallo. I mean, you still have the old guys with Dustin Brown, Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have like Quentin Byfield coming up. He's going to be awesome. Alex Iafallo, as I mentioned, he's really good. Cal Peterson's been playing out of his head. Jonathan Quick, if he could stay healthy. And I think you're absolutely right in saying that they don't need the full rebuild right now.
No.
They are kind of like coming off of the full rebuild, I would say.
Right.
But like you said, they are hitting those walls and those issues, and it kind of seems like they're, falling back now. But I mean, if you ask me, the price to pay for they get 2 Stanley Cups or 3? I think 2.
2.
For 2 Stanley Cups and a decent playoff run every year, like in between them,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not a bad price. A 5-6 year turnaround.
Right.
From 2016. So.
And maybe with better guys in front of Jonathan Quick, I mean, I know he's standing on his head. His stats haven't been
He's
looking
such a health
good.
bomb too. That's
but
the thing. If he could stay healthy,
Exactly. But with Cal Peterson as his backup, another goalie that made his reigns too. He's just like, I think I saw something from him. There's LA Kings on the YouTube did a thing about him, and he just hard worker. And like in the AHL where he was at, they're just saying like, dude, you're not going to be in the NHL. Like, you just don't have that caliber. And like, so he was pushed around, and then went up to the Canes, got dropped back, and now he's solidified his spot as the backup for Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick, again, another goalie that I don't know how long it's going to last with the especially for the Kings or just the NHL in general. So with that said, when are we going to see Jonathan Quick retire, or when is he going to maybe injury prone, which he is? So now we're going to have Cal Peterson up now taking that number one spot, and now we're going to I don't know, there's just a lot of question marks, but I think the Kings right now are working with what they have, and I think they're doing a great job with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're spot on there. So moving on to San Jose here.
Mm-hmm.
So for subtractions, they lost their goalie Martin Jones. They lost forward Ryan Donato. And for additions, we got Adin Hill as a goalie from Arizona, James Reimer as a goalie from Toronto, I believe, Nick Bonino a forward, and Andrew Cogliano a forward.
Oh, James Reimer was from Carolina.
That's right. So San Jose finished the season 7th in the Honda West Division, 26th in the league. Another team like LA and Anaheim that have been going through hard times. This team's a little bit of a different story, though. San Jose has been known to be one of the top teams in the West, with the joke being that they can't get past the first round of playoffs, as we all know. This slope has happened after the 2018-19 season when their top scorer, Pavelski, went to Dallas, and their second top scorer, Thomas Hertl, went from a 35-goal season to a 16. This is a team that has the guys that can score, but are all simultaneously going through ruts the past 2 seasons, besides Evander Kane, who's been putting up 20-plus goals a season since being with San Jose, which we don't really know what's going to happen there.
Right.
The moves of Ryan Donato, who didn't put up the goals in San Jose that were expected of him, with only 6, and Martin Jones coming off of his worst season in the NHL with a 15-13 record, 3.28 GAA, and an .896 save percentage, will help the team out this season. Bonino is coming off of a 10-goal and 16-assist season with Minnesota, and James Reimer coming off of a solid season with a 15-5-2 record, 2.66 GAA, and a .906 save percentage. Adin Hill, who left Arizona with a 2.74 GAA, a 913 save percentage, will be solid additions to this team that just need a little push to get back to where they were. And solid goaltending is what this team is going to need with all 3 goalies of the last season. Joseph Coronar, Devin Dubnyk, and Martin Jones not playing the way they should be. Expect a possible comeback season for the Sharks.
I'm thinking, this is why I have the Sharks up there too. I'm thinking with these moves, better goaltending in net. We're getting good scorers in. I think they do have a little push there to at least make first round of the playoffs and do the San Jose thing again and get knocked out, but still a push to the playoffs nonetheless.
I think personally that this is going to be a team like Ottawa and a team like Vancouver where they have so many moving parts coming in, coming out. You don't really know what's going on.
Right.
Like we have Adin Hill and James Reimer, 2 goalies who weren't even here last season. You have Erik Carlson and Brent Burns. Brent Burns is still getting it done. Erik Carlson has not lived up to his contract ever since coming over. Mm-hmm. I like Vlasic a lot, but he's riding third-line defensive minutes. Mm-hmm. And then their bottom 2 lines, I don't know any of these players really. I know Bonino and Cogliano, who we've talked about. They have John Leonard, Nick Bonino, Rudolph Balsers for third line, and then Andrew Cogliano, Dylan Gambrell, and Matthew Nieto for fourth line. Above there, Meyer and Hertl are very young. Barabanov, I don't even know him. Their top line's pretty good, though. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Evander Kane. I have a feeling he's not going to play. Top line's Kane, Logan Couture, and Kevin Labanc, which is solid. Mm-hmm. I just think they don't have the right parts yet. They're in the right division to be where they are.
Right. And
they could sneak into that 4th spot, but this is, like I said, this is set in stone. Like, here's you guys that are going to make it. Here's you guys that aren't, I think. What do you think here on San Jose? You good?
Yeah. I mean, I like both of our opinions on this.
But, like, I don't mean that, like, they're not going to make it, right? But look at the 4 playoff spots that we have. We both said Vegas, Calgary, Edmonton all make it, right? That leaves one position for these 5 teams to fight for. So,
right.
I don't know. I wasn't trying to say that San Jose is definitely not making it. But,
No, that's fine. Yeah. Right. It's all opinions right now based off like what we're seeing. So you never know. Maybe they're just gonna shit the bed this.
Yeah,
this
I mean, a
coming
lot
season.
changes through the season too. You don't know who's going to get injured, who's going to come in, who's going to stay,
Right.
things like
Exactly. Everything could change so quick. So I want to jump into it. So we got the Vancouver Canucks next. The Vancouver lost Nate Schmidt, Alexander Edler, Braden Holtby, and Jay Beagle. They added Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Connor Garland, Yaroslav Halak, and Luke Schenn. As we all saw last season, Vancouver is one of the worst teams in the league. Dead last in Scotia North Division and 24th in the league. The Canucks haven't had a good season since 2014-2015 when they clinched in the Pacific Division in second place, where they got taken out in the first round by the Calgary Flames. There's a lot to say when you see the roster and see names like Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, JT Miller, and Elias Pettersson, to name a few, and wonder why this team had a 23-29-4 record last season. Braden Holtby, who had come over from the Capitals after winning the Stanley Cup in 2018, was signed to a 2-year, $8.6 million contract with the Canucks and was an absolute dud with the worst stats he's had in his career since entering the league back in 2010, with a 7-11-3 record, 3.67 GAA, and a .889 save percentage. Though we talked about Holtby earlier this year about him playing for a different team with a different style of play, it doesn't shed the fact that he couldn't figure it out to be the goalie that Vancouver needed him to be, and that's why Vancouver bought him out, and he is now signed with Dallas. Not just to blame Holtby, this whole team needs a revamp, and it should start with the defense for the new goalie tandem, Thatcher Demko and Yaroslav Halak. We wouldn't expect to see much from this team until they start making the right moves to get the right players to start to play to their potential at the right time. So Vancouver, we talked about this episodes ago when the season was there. They were like one of the worst teams. Ottawa too. Remember we were talking about Matt Murray and that whole situation, and just Vancouver like just shit the bed last season, and they're gonna full fucking revamp, man. Like it's been years since like Vancouver was like any good at all, and it's still not looking good for them. Though
The thing that sucks to me is they tried to do this last season, brought in a ton of new guys and got rid of a ton of guys, and then they were like, oh shit, like that didn't work. We just brought Holtby in, and now we're already dumping him. We're done with him. You know what I mean?
After one season, it's like, all right, we're gonna buy you out and see you later.
Well, I mean, he did suck, but like the shit in front of him was like it wasn't entirely his fault. He didn't play up to par either. Like he wasn't playing Holtby level, even with shit guys in front of him. But it's just when is this gonna end? Like, I personally, Halak is going to be another Band-Aid. It's a 1-year goaltender fix, in my opinion. Ekman-Larsson is a 1-year fix. Connor Garland is a great addition to the team. He's young. He's going to play well. Luke Schenn as well. And then you see Nate Schmidt going out, which is an awesome defenseman. Alexander Edler is an okay defenseman. Holtby could have been better, so I'm okay with that. And Jay Beagle's a pretty good forward. So it kind of seems like about an even trade-off. So you're not sticking with the guys that you had, and you're not developing chemistry with the same group. Now you have 4 guys out, 4 guys in, and you're working with the same thing you had last year.
I like what you just said there. It's not working with the team that you had. It's not being like, all right, well, let's take what happened last season and get better. It's more like you didn't play it to par what we thought. So screw, and we're gonna get like some guys. So we think we're going to be talking about this same shit like after
we'll be doing this again next year.
We're going to do this again. We're going to see Ekman-Larsson gone and Connor Garland gone for the other teams. It's just gonna they're just going to recycle players, and it's not the way to go, man. It's been years since Vancouver's been good. What was it, 2011, that fucking Stanley Cup run against the Bruins? I think that was the last time they had like a decent cup run. And after
they were competitive after that too, though, when Schneider was there too.
Yeah,
for a little bit, but it didn't last long. Their top 2 lines are really solid, and I think you can say this about a lot of teams in the NHL. It really gets down to the nitty gritty about your 3rd and 4th lines and what they're going to do for you. First, I'm just going to rattle them off real quick. JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, first line, that's stacked. Nils Hoglander, Bo Horvat, Connor Garland, that's going to be a good line. And then it falls off from there. 3rd and 4th line, I don't really know too much. Excuse me. Top D pair, Quinn Hughes and Travis Hamonic is going to do really well, but they just don't have the parts yet, and I just don't like the recycled team when you just we have a new team again next year.
It's like they have the names, like you look at the names like, oh nice, but it's just like it's also not
so
like
a team that we've compared them to a lot is Ottawa, and we mentioned that we don't see a lot of moves out of Ottawa, and we were like, wow, they're not doing the right thing. They should be making more moves. But I think Vancouver would have been better off doing what Ottawa did and not making any moves, keeping the same guys. Let's do another year and get used to each other again, you know?
Right.
I don't know. That's just the other side of the coin, I guess, right?
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
Like knowing the plays. It's different, too, for us talking about this, whereas it's different for an organization that knows their plays. They've talked to the players. They know their skills. So, like, Ottawa can, like, see their players be like, listen, we had like a really rough season last season, but I know your potential. We know why we signed you to this team. Let's off season figure this thing out. Let's practice. Let's get team chemistry going and go from there. Whereas Vancouver, as we're seeing, is just like, all right, dump them, get new players in, and I don't think it's working for them at all. But I don't know how long before we see Vancouver figure things out and be like, all right, we need to figure shit out, or it's going to be bad.
You got to hope they draft and develop. They're not scared to make moves, which is good, but they're not making the right moves. At least last season.
Right.
This season could be different, but again, like Halak's going to be gone. Ekman Larson should probably be gone shortly. They're both older guys. So.
Right.
But we can move right along here. Vegas Golden Knights, they lost Nick DeSimone on defense, Cody Glass as a forward, Nick Holden on defense, and Marc-Andre Fleury as a goalie. They added Evgeny Dadonov as a forward, Laurent Brossoit in net, Nolan Patrick a forward, Brett Howden a forward, Patrick Brown a forward, and Matthias Janmark a forward. That's a lot of forwards.
That's a lot of forwards.
So Vegas, since becoming a team in their inaugural season back in 2017, has been a force to be reckoned with in the NHL, clinching first place in the Pacific and fifth in the league in their first year, and not going below third place since says so much. You could write a book already with this organization. Though a team that is a Stanley Cup ready, they have yet to win it. Another team with a brick wall at the finish line and unable to break it. These pickups might help Vegas finally break it down. Like we said before, you got to lose good players to get good players, and that's what we're seeing right now with DeSimone, Glass, and Holden. But picking up a solid backup for Robin Leonard, Laurent Brossoit, Matthias Janmark, who was picked up midway through last season and provided playmaking, and Evgeny Dadonov, who's a 20-plus goal a season player, you're going to see a Golden Knights team that's even more ready to go than what we saw last season. If the Knights can keep their momentum going since they became a team, then you're going to see them clinch a playoff spot at the end of next season and have another push to raise the Stanley Cup. All eyes on Vegas.
I love the moves that's going on right now. I love Vegas.
That was a goddamn run-on sentence you left me with on that one.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that as
I was like, where does it end?
Oh, God. I screwed up so bad. But, yeah, dude, you were on the Vegas train before anyone
at
absolutely.
All.
Wasn't even a team yet, and you somehow had a Vegas Golden Knights hat. But they came out guns fucking blazing. And, you know, good for them. They're a great team. We saw it. We both had them winning the cup last year, and they had the run. Obviously, playoffs are just different. Like you could be the best team in the league, and just like NHL playoffs, hockey playoffs are just you just never know, and that's what happened with the Vegas Golden Knights.
That's why I think like in the regular season you build a team to win that, and in the playoffs you have to have your team built to win this. You know what I mean? It's two entirely different teams.
It's like 2 seasons in one, basically.
Yeah, and you need different guys for both seasons, which is kind of tough. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly.
I think like if you're a team that's on the verge, you want to build yourself up, skill for the regular season, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe trade deadline, you bulk up, you get depth, you get extra guys, and just keep them in the reserves, and you get those beefy guys that can really back you up and make sure you can, survive out there,
Right. So how do you feel about the Golden Knights with all this?
So Cody Glass going away and Marc-Andre Fleury going away is definitely very bad. Nick DeSimone, Nick Holden, not so much. They definitely loaded in on firepower for forwards. Matthias Janmark, Nolan Patrick, Evgeny Dadonov stick out to me. Laurent Brossoit in net is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not a Marc-Andre Fleury.
No.
But I think Robin Leonard can fill his shoes pretty well, and
yeah.
Laurent Brossoit will be a nice backup to be groomed and become like the future of the organization.
Right.
So
I've always loved Laurent Brossoit. I loved watching him. I love his style. When he was playing in Winnipeg, he was a great backup for Connor Hellebuck there. And I've always liked watching him play.
I remember you said that early on in the season. You were like, I wouldn't watch Winnipeg if Hellebuck was in net. I only like to watch when Brossoit's in net. And Hellebuck's like a fucking Vezina candidate every year. Oh, the good old days. We suck. We suck.
Why do you guys listen to us?
Alex Tuck's still out for next season. That's pretty tough to see as of right now. I got to look into that and check that out.
Right.
They re-upped Alec Martinez and Alex Pietrangelo as their top line defenseman. That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore are also really good second line, and Nick Hagee too on the third line defense. That's good on the back end.
Oh yeah.
Looking on the forward side, obviously first two lines look good. Dadonov, Nolan Patrick, Matthias Janmark on the third line. That's all three of our new pickups, right?
Right. Yep.
That's awesome too. Like we just talked about the last team.
Right.
They have a full forward line that's in the mix. They're brand new. They're all, regardless of what line you put them on, they have to adjust to new players to play with. So let's just make them learn how to play with each other, you know? And they're all kind of good third line players that could on other teams be on the second line. So
I love seeing that.
That's
You
great
saw that?
depth.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's awesome. I think more teams should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I don't know, you bring new players in and be like, all right, the new players, we'll put you on a line, get to know each other, figure each other out, and then we'll get you guys into the team itself, maybe switch up lines like later on.
And like, regardless of how it shakes out, right? If you get three new players, let's say you get a first line player, a second line player, and a third line player, and then you're like, oh, we can't really put them all together. And if you're going to split them all up 1, 2, 3, you're screwing yourself by messing up all three of those lines. But what you can do is you put all three of them together in the middle on the second line, and you bump your guys down to the third, and now you have so much depth, you know?
Right.
So I think it's going to be another really good season for Vegas. They also don't have Colorado in their division, so it won't be as tough as last season playing against them. Like, having two teams tie for the President's... Were they in the same division last year? I feel like they might not have been. I might be fucking this up. But both those teams tied with the same amount of regular season points. Colorado won based on, like, head-to-head games. But, I mean, I just think that they didn't take a step back at all. I mean, they did a little with Fleury leaving, but I think Leonard can fill those shoes and Brossoit as a backup's golden. So
yeah, we all know that whole Robin,
debacle.
That whole shit. I just found out too before this. The guy they took, I can't remember his fucking name to begin with, but the trade from Chicago, that Matt something or whatever. Like, literally that week, Vegas took him, bought him out, and just shipped him.
That's savage,
he's
dude.
gone.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, really, just like pretty much telling Florida to be like, hey, go fuck yourself.
Wow. We want to give you away and pay this guy $300,000 to fuck off.
Go fuck off. I'm like, holy shit.
Last up, we're all done with Vegas, right?
We're all done with
So
Vegas.
last up, the only other thing we have left to do is Seattle, but we kind of covered that with the expansion draft, so we'll just look at their team one more time after their moves. I do believe on the Instagram, if you can pull that up in our messages, there's a Seattle additions and subtractions, but as a team, they have in net Grubauer and Driedger, which is that's a huge goaltending pair, right? Driedger and Grubauer, that's going to be sick for next season.
The fact that they picked up Driedger,
Grubauer,
right? Sorry. Like, he was an absolute leg and a half for Colorado last season.
100%.
Unbelievable.
100%. And I mean, on defense here, top pair, Vince Dunn, Adam Larson. Next pair, Giordano, Alexiak. Alexiak's really good, actually. Hayden Fleury, I believe we said just moved, so he is actually not on here anymore. Daily faceoff still catching up. So, I mean, their D pairs are still pretty solid. But, like I've mentioned before, your top two lines should really be good to go. Jaden Schwartz, Yanni Gord, Jordan Eberle, that line's pretty good. But Kale Yarncroc, Jared McCann, and Jonas Donskoy, not too solid. Falls off a bit more from there with Tanev, Wenberg, and Appleton. So I don't know why I really put Seattle in the fourth spot, but I think that they'll be jiving to try and make it at the end of the season.
Right. So Seattle Kraken's the players they lost.
This is what they've lost since they drafted and what they added since they drafted.
Right, exactly. So what they lost since the draft was Tyler Pitlick, Curtis McDermott, who we just talked about, and Vitek Vanacek, who was sent right back to Washington. They also added, I thought they, this is interesting. I thought they picked up Grubauer in the draft. I guess
no, they signed him. He was a UFA for Colorado, and Colorado was still trying to figure out how much do we pay McCarr, McKinnon, all those guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So then they were like, here you go, come get the bag.
Solid. So they picked up Philip Grubauer. They picked up defenseman Mark Giordano, forward Jaden Schwartz, forward Jordan Eberle, and forward Yanni Gord.
So that's a little fucked up because they took some of those guys in the draft. So it's like an interesting thing. Yeah. I don't know why they wrote it like that.
Kraken was all over the place though. Like right after they did the draft, like you were already seeing like moves like instantaneously.
In a good way.
In a good way. But, like, they're already planning for the future type of thing where just, like, they picked up a guy and then all of a sudden it'd be like, Seattle Kraken traded this and this for 2021 or 2022 draft pick, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing now. They're really trying to figure things out. Maybe this draft, or maybe maybe this draft year in general, they're just like, maybe they could see plays in the future to be like, I think we could pick up better plays.
I wonder if they're like, I believe it's not this draft, the next one. I wonder if they're like, all right, we got to make it look like we'll be all right this season, and then next year we just fucking tank for Connor Bedard. So they're like, let's draft like kind of good and get ourselves set up for fucking next year.
I believe it.
So yeah, just so we're clear here, my 4 teams for the playoffs, I got Vegas, Calgary, Edmonton, and Seattle, and I believe you got yours right there.
Yep. So I got Vegas, Edmonton, San Jose, and Calgary.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we're basically the same. That's what we have right now. And I mean, last when did we do this? When we first started the show in December, we decided we did this basically, but now we're getting one at the beginning of the season. So I'll save these picks and put them on that file like I did last time, and everybody can see what we did. But now we're all done with the Pacific Division, so fuck those guys. We got a few signings here too. Philadelphia signed Sean Couturier for 8 years, $62 million at a 7.75 AAV, and Carolina signs Andrei Svechnikov for the same exact contract, 8 years, $62 million, 7.75 AAV.
Shocked about
What's
that.
your opinion on that? I sent you what I thought.
Yeah, and I agree with what you thought. Svechnikov, well deserving of this 8 years, 62. Sean Couturier, great player. I was shocked that he got the exact same amount and exact same years. So I don't know I'll take it. Fuck it, Sean Couturier.
Yeah, I think he definitely should. But let's. I'm gonna punch this in real quick. Can you keep going with the extra shit? I got something to check out here.
Yeah, sure. So and then Philadelphia signed Derek Brassard. Brassard. I got Brassard in my head. Derek Brassard to a 1 year, $825,000 contract. I saw that and I thought that was interesting. I kind of went back because in my head, Derek Brassard was one of the better players for the New York Rangers back in the day, and so throughout the years, at least 3 or 4 years, his stats have really kind of been declining. He's a good player still for the NHL, which is why he's now signing this $825,000. Deals like this, though, is what you see from players that might not be here toward the end of next season or just next NHL season alone, like dropped right back to the AHL and just ending their career there. So we might be seeing that with Derek Brassard here. But I really enjoyed him as a player. I hope he does well for Philadelphia. Philadelphia is looking really good as a team. I know we kind of shitted on them last season because they were going through a rough phase here, but we're gonna dive into them later on in the next coming episodes here, and really get a look at what they're doing in this off season to see what they picked up, what they lost, because they needed to do something after last season. So I think Derek Brassard would be a good pickup for them for $825.
Yeah, that was definitely a solid sign. So my main gripe, going back to Svechnikov and Couturier signing the same exact contract, Svechnikov is on the rise and Couturier is on the fall. I think he's been around for 10 years. Svechnikov's been in the league for 3. I just punched this into RotoWire to compare the two guys. Svechnikov has him beat in every category except for goals. Couturier had 18 goals last season, and Svechnikov had 15. Unless this is... Yeah, this is from last season. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, Svechnikov assists, 27 over 23. Plus minus 1 over -4. Penalty minutes, 44 over 8. Jesus, that's a lot. Power play goals, 4 over 3. Power play assists, 13 over 7. So, it could be just about, holy shit, hits, 114 over 34. That's insane. Svechnikov throws it around, huh? I didn't know that.
Those Russians.
Yeah, I just think... I mean, I guess he's working the power play more, getting more time on ice, but it's like, why are these two getting the same pay? You know what I mean? That was my first thought.
As soon as you said, actually, this news came out literally today, and almost back to back, where I was like, wait a minute, what? Same exact deal and everything.
Also, 8 years for a guy that's been in the league for 10 already. That's 18 years in the league. That's a long time.
That's big. That's yeah.
Couturier will probably stick it out and stick around. You know what I mean? But.
Or he'll pull a Lundqvist, as we say, and just...
Oh, savage, dude.
just, taking the words back out of your mouth, That's what you said. I didn't say it. You're the one shitting on Lundqvist over here.
All right. Do we want to do what do we want to do here first? Because you moved some stuff to the bottom, but you left something up there.
No. Well, everything's in order here.
Okay,
so.
go right ahead.
All right. So, oh, God, no. You're right. Yep. Skip that first one. So you know more about this than I do, but here in Massachusetts, this thing called Power Play Hockey League, and in Hingham this week, the Fighting Squirrels got into some issues here. Do you know the whole backstory to that? There's an Instagram video going around that I think reached Barstool, didn't it?
Yeah, no. So it was on the Spittin' Chicklets page initially, and this was the video of their fight. So apparently, this is what I heard from my friends around here. So backstory first. The Fighting Squirrels are a team that were in the New England Senior Hockey League, which is a men's league around here that folded last year. Mm-hmm. The guy scummed everyone out of like over $1 million, basically. The guy sucks.
Yep.
But they were always kind of like rough and tough. Like, they were just like those dicks in men's league. That
that's what New England Senior was.
I know some of the guys on the team, so I don't want to badmouth them, but I always fucking hated playing against them because it's just a line brawl every time.
Right.
They're one of those teams. So New England Senior would like allow that shit.
Right.
So next part of the story is they're on the ice playing, I believe, the championship game. One of their guys gets a penalty. He's going to the box, starts yelling at the ref, the scorekeeper, F you, F that, F this.
Yeah.
I think he like squirted water at the scorekeeper, which is like the most
something like that. Yeah.
Like tried to hit him. He's like the most neutral guy there. Like if you fight a ref, like not okay, but like I understand why you would.
But a fucking scorekeeper.
And like a fan, I understand why you might. Like that's still not cool.
Yeah.
But the scorekeeper like doesn't give a shit, dude. The guy's just getting paid to sit there and click buttons. Like he is the most neutral person in the arena.
Yeah, it's like,
this is the equivalent of going to the pro shop and fighting the guy behind the counter.
Right.
But even he could have fucked up your skate sharpening. You know what I mean?
And
this guy did nothing.
He's not even the one doing even the scores, really, because it's the refs that come up to him and be like, hey, this team scored. And he goes, okay, up.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all he fucking does.
So I don't get why that happened. But I guess I think that the scorekeeper came out and was pissed. Like, they called the game because of abusive officials, basically. The Fighting Squirrels are all getting off the ice, and in the video you see a guy that's not even, like, in gear. I think it's a scorekeeper from what I can tell. Gets out of the score box, comes over, yelling at the guys, blah, blah, blah. And then some grown man that's, like, 45 years old. Like, the scorekeeper's, like, young, like, 20 years old, like, probably in college trying to make some money. Mm-hmm. The guy, he doesn't even see the player, like, coming up to him, just sucker punches him side of the head with the glove on still, and just, like, beats the brakes off him. I think he actually dropped the gloves, too, and, like, fucking fought him. So I was like, this is fucking bullshit. And I knew right away, like, I saw the jersey. I was like, these fucking assholes, dude. I thought it was a guy on the other team that had already gotten changed or, like, thrown out for fighting. So I was like, oh, this is normal shit for them.
The worst part I saw from that, so in the Hingham rink where they are, where the glass is, like right outside the glass, there's, like, these metal poles that for some reason are there. Like, like normal rinks, it's just a glass around. Well, for some reason, like, there's a metal pole that's, like, there.
Like a support beam for the ceiling?
Like a support beam for something. And when he got punched, like, his head, like, hit that beam. And I was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. So, I mean, it's just disgusting all around. Like, there's no need for it at all.
No.
So, the good thing is
so much in that league.
in New England Senior you did. This is Power Play Hockey League now.
Yep.
So Power Play Hockey League sent us this blast email to their entire chain. It says, we'd like to address an incident that occurred during a league game on August 19th. Blah, 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 blah. During the championship game, a player assaulted a referee after a penalty was assessed. Player behavior further deteriorated towards both referees until the game was called. As the team made their way to the locker room, multiple team members physically assaulted the scorekeeper. Power Play does not speak publicly on matters being handled by our Department of Player Safety. However, we feel this incident is far outside acceptable behavior and needs to be shared with our members. We condemn all this stuff from the league, blah, 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 blah. The players involved in the assaults have been permanently banned from all PPHL activities, and furthermore, the entire team is suspended from any league or activities for at least 1 year, at which time the team or its individual members may apply for reinstatement at the league's discretion.
I loved that statement.
Fucking awesome, dude.
Fucking loved it. New England Senior, that fucking douche.
They don't even care, dude. They're like, all right, yeah, he can sit out next game.
Either sit out next game or, like, not do anything and be like, yeah, play. Like, I've seen fucked up shit playing for New England.
The only thing I would say is I don't think I've ever seen New England Senior allow them to hit, like, a referee or a scorekeeper.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
right,
I think that's what the big... I mean...
But you can also be dirty as fuck.
Yeah, but power play is still setting the the standard here, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
I mean, I'm all for it.
I'm
man.
all for it too.
I couldn't believe the video when
It's
I saw it.
men's league.
Nuts.
This isn't the fucking pros. No one's watching your shitty ass game. I fucking hate these kind of players. I was actually playing with a few of them last week. Actually, if you go on our YouTube channel for everyone listening on Spotify, Apple, go on YouTube and go to Around the Boards, which is our YouTube channel. I put up my mic'd video. Put that up. And we played against a team that I've played for before, but they were for Mass Hockey League. Oh, no, sorry. This is for New England Senior.
So it's power play now, right?
It's now power play, yeah. And there's like 3 guys on that team that are just total fucking dicks and think like there's scouts everywhere just watching them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Just.
Dude, I watched
come around those plays.
I also watched your video, dude. You got so lucky on that poke check.
Oh, my God.
You were fucking out at the hash marks, and the dude had a wide open net.
Shit.
I couldn't believe you hit that post.
I couldn't believe it. You know what fucking sucked was I knew as soon as I left, I was like, the hesitation ruined me.
Yeah,
Don't
that's what it
ever
is.
hesitate with the poke check. And that's exactly what I did.
You either go out and get it or you don't.
And when I came out and I missed it, I was like, shit.
Yeah,
and I
couldn't believe you missed, dude.
I can't believe you did that. All I heard was I heard a ping and everyone going, oh, and I'm like, did he miss that shot?
I would have been like, oh, fuck, he went bar down on my empty net. Sick. So, yeah, go check that out. That was a fun video to watch. You did pretty good mic'd up, too. I mean, it takes time, takes practice to figure out what to say when you're used to being the guy that's alone for 50% of the game in your own end.
I was trying to figure out, what to say. I'm always quiet during games.
Yeah.
So, and then I was watching this YouTuber goalie that mic'd himself up, and for the 14 minutes that he played, not a word was said. So I'm like, why even be mic'd up, man? But I got to figure out a better place to put that mic. The mic caught a bunch of stuff, but it wasn't as clear as I wanted it to be. So
the main thing for me was I get it for goalies, but excuse me, the using it for a forward, when you were skating from one end to the other, there was so much wind, you could hear it.
So I was thinking
how do forwards?
I was thinking about that too when I was editing. I didn't have the windscreen on the mic. I took the windscreen off because it's this little straight little thing that I can get through the side of my mask.
Gotcha.
But I think if I just put it to the side of the mask and then put the windscreen on, then it'll be better. Yeah,
that's cool.
So again, learning as you go. But yeah. Yeah, fuck these guys from the Power Play Hockey League that happened in Anaheim.
But much respect to Power Play Hockey League.
Right. Love that. Love hearing about that. I think they're doing a great job coming in replace for both New England Senior and Mass Hockey League to come in and be like, hey, listen, this is a different league. We don't take this shit.
Mass Hockey was pretty good about it too.
Yeah, I like playing for Mass Hockey. They were great. But let's move on from that. Mark Savad is now the head coach in the OHL for the Windsor Spitfires. Dude, savvy, man. Coming out of fucking left field.
Yeah.
I talked to you. I thought he was a scout, but he's not.
He was assistant coach for the St. Louis Blues in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
So, damn, dude, wait. Was that the year they won the Cup? Tampa back-to-back and St. Louis before? Yeah.
I think
he was assistant coach when they won the Cup. That's sick.
Holy shit.
Wow,
good God. So a little what Mark Savad has been doing. So on July 1st, 2015, Savad's contract with the Bruins was included in a trade of Riley Smith to the Florida Panthers in exchange for Jimmy Hayes, who we'll be talking about later on, due to salary cap circumstances. Savad is one of the founders of Project 91, which is dedicated to raising concussion awareness and to provide funding to support concussion research. I loved reading about that at Mark Savad, especially with Mark Savad's story and that whole reason why he had to get out of the league. Actually, he was part of the reason why now there's no touch icing now in the NHL with everything going on. So
also, I just did the fucking math in my head. We're fucking idiots. Tampa won in the 2021 season, and then Tampa won in the 1920 season. So it was 18-19 when St. Louis won. God,
time flies by.
I'm stupid. I'm getting a beer.
All right, so I'm going to move on from that, too. So Valtteri Filppula signs with the Swiss NL with Genève Servette. He's a veteran of 1,056 NHL games. Filppula has 197 goals and 530 points over his career with the Red Wings, Tampa Bay Lightning, Philadelphia Flyers, and New York Islanders. Every time I think of Valtteri Filppula, I see a Detroit Red Wings emblem just pop up in my head. So the fact that he was in Tampa, Philly, and New York Islanders is just kind of like big question mark for me. But I guess I think we're right though about just the 2-year contract that he had with Detroit Red Wings. Because I'm like,
good
there's
luck
no
to
way
him.
he was just.
It's definitely good that I mean, it sounds kind of fucked up. Good for him going to the Swiss League. I think he definitely could have helped the young crew that's coming in Detroit, but he's probably, like I said, like losing culture kind of thing.
Right.
Probably wanted to get out. So,
Exactly.
But that's
I don't
awesome
blame
to see. He still wants to play. The Swiss League is awesome, dude. From what I
Mm-hmm.
hear, like Switzerland's fucking sick. I want to go there.
I'm sure once you get to a certain point though in your league, especially if you're European, you'll be like, all right, time to kind of go home and set things up.
Did I ask you last time we talked countries where your next country to go to is, like where you want to go?
I don't think I have. I've been to Germany, Japan, Canada, but Tara wants to go to Ireland, which I've been hearing about, which is pretty cool.
We should do that.
That's not on my list though.
Oh, I was gonna say that's me and MK's because we do want to go there.
Oh,
Like,
really?
dude, if we go there, we could like
We'll go.
rent clubs and play. Ireland has sick golf.
Yeah, we'll definitely go.
All right, sick. The 4 of us should go.
Because
do that.
Tara wants to go, so it's definitely on the list. I have a coworker that went, and so Ireland, their cul-de-sacs are bars, so you could just go to the bar. You could sit down in the bar and have drinks, or
What do
you
you
could
mean
like.
cul-de-sac?
So like, the guy who I work with is saying like, so all the bars are like pretty much in a cul-de-sac.
Oh, I got you. I thought you meant like you said their cul-de-sacs are bars, not
Oh,
their bars
sorry,
are cul-de-sacs.
sorry.
So I thought like at the end of every street that was a
There's a
cul-de-sac. They had a
cul-de-sac
bar,
of bars.
or like every
Sorry.
cul-de-sac had a bar. Big,
No.
that's sick. We need that here.
Right? But yeah, you can go inside, grab a beer, sit down if you want, or go outside and just enjoy it, which was what my coworker did. He grabbed the beer, just went outside, everyone just having a great
Dude,
time.
that's why I want to go to New Orleans. They have open container law there, so like you can like buy a beer at one bar and walk out with it.
I feel like New
just be
Orleans
chilling.
is just like, just this lawless wasteland.
It's not like a wasteland though. Like people respect it and like it's sick. It's like mad fun. Mary Kate went with some of her friends. So.
Was it Australians that prisoners that went over to New Orleans and that's set it up, and so it's prisoners that are just like, oh well, all these guys are down, so let's take a bunch of prostitutes from Australia and just send them over to New Orleans for the guys.
So
yeah.
I knew that Australia was a country because that's where Britain sent all the prisoners.
Yeah, and so.
Those prisoners from Australia came to New Orleans?
Came to New Orleans. They set everything up in New Orleans to almost what it is today. And then it was all guys. So just like, oh, the morale's down. Let's send a bunch of prostitutes there and like help them out.
No
and
shit.
So here we go with New Orleans. It's just,
Bunch of legends.
It's a country inside of a country.
That's
really.
where Mardi Gras comes from.
Yeah, so congratulations to Valtteri Filppula. To end it, we have some sad news, I guess, to end it. So this week, was it this week? Yeah. Rod Gilbert passed away at the age of 80. He's known as Mr. Ranger. He played right wing on the GAG line, the goal a game line, with Vic Hadfield and Jean Rattel. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1982 and was the first player in Rangers history to have his number retired. After his playing career, he became president of the Rangers Alumni Association. So, rest in peace, guy.
I don't know shit about you.
I don't know shit about
So
you.
he played from 57 to 78, which was his professional career, but
Right.
he only played in the NHL from 60 until 78.
Right.
All with the Rangers, which was pretty cool because back in the day, that's kind of how it was. Like
Okay.
you were trying to be like a team's guy. It wasn't like you get bounced around, suitcased and shit. But
Right.
406 goals, 615 assists, 1,000 points, and 1,000 games played. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
You know what's kind of nuts, dude? 1,000 games over a 20-year career, 18-year career, like seems shy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because now, you know why? The first 2 years were one fucking game a season. All right. I don't know shit about this guy. His last season he only played 19 games, but every other year he played every game. So
I didn't know anything.
fucking what a legend.
The
huh?
internet didn't know anything about
He's
him either.
such
I'm looking him up, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's such a legend. No one's ever fucking heard of him.
Retired
Mr.
number and
Ranger.
everything, too, and there's nothing on him. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. It is what it is.
All right, rest in peace, brother.
Right. So, God, this is just going to get darker and darker the more we fucking talk.
We should do the other one before, the top one before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yep. So Caleb Reimer of the Oil Kings, Ronan Sharma, and Parker Magnuson from Delta Hockey Academy passed away in a car accident last week. Reimer had already made his debut in the WHL's Edmonton Oil Kings last season, while Sharmer and Magnuson had progressed with junior A teams. A group of friends began his GoFundMe page in order to support the families as needed, including funeral costs and expenses. The GoFundMe page states, "Please continue to pray and condolences and wrap your arms around the three families as they struggle to deal with the great loss." The GoFundMe page has already surpassed 21,000. I'll try to put the GoFundMe page link on the bottom of the description here if you guys want to help out the parents with the players. The NHL and a bunch of players from the NHL have also come out to offer their condolences for the team. Just a tragic loss for these young guys. 15, 16 years old, right?
It's terrible.
So
man.
it's just a terrible.
It's been a very somber week for the hockey world. And honestly, I don't know if it's social media or what, but like the Humboldt Broncos crash from a few years ago, like I don't know if it's just covered more, but like you don't usually hear about shit like this, and it's becoming more and more common.
Right.
And I hope it's being covered more and it's not happening more. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
right.
Oh, it's so terrible to see all the time. Such young kids.
Right, exactly. So, rest in peace to the three. Man, it must be so hard for the families, man. Like,
It's something you can't even think about as a parent. Like now that I have Emma, man, like I don't even want to talk about it.
Right, It's just rough. So to end this episode off is big news for me and you. This is a NHL player that I personally grew up with. I know their family. My parents know each other, and it's the passing of Jimmy Hayes. And came to a complete shock to all of us, I'd say. You were the one that gave me the news first about this. And again, when you know someone, it's like denial, like right away when you sent me that. I was like, there's no way in hell.
And when I heard it, it wasn't out there yet. So me hearing that Jimmy Hayes had passed was from someone that did personally know him as well. So when I sent it to you, I was like, dude, because I knew that you knew him. I was like, it's not out there yet, but he passed last night in his sleep. It's fucking terrible.
It's just awful
so young,
news.
31 years old.
So young. Had a fantastic NHL career, as well as his brother right now in the NHL is.
My favorite thing about, it sounds weird to say, my favorite thing about everything that you're seeing online is no one's really talking about his career. They talk about him in the locker room and like how good of a guy he was.
Right.
Like he lights up the room. He's just fucking like an awesome guy. Puts a smile on your face.
And that's exactly my process with this. I didn't want to talk about his career at all. Like when you know him personally too, you just it's like great NHL player, that's it. But as a person, just in general, like such a great guy. My mom. Still in Dorchester, saw him and his parents more often than I did, and he always asked about me and my brother, even though we haven't seen each other in years. Just trying to be with the family, and so just a great guy overall.
He just had a kid too. He had a 3-month-old.
Just had a 3-month-old, and so just so rough. It was hard news to hear. My mom, when I told her, didn't believe it either, and then she's beside herself. I think she was getting in contact with his family too to offer her
Kevin
condolences.
Sr. And you have any funny stories from them growing up? Anything stick out? I found one today that I thought was funny. I know Mr. Hayes, Kevin Sr., told both of them that he didn't want either of them playing in Boston because of the pressure of playing here. You know what I mean? And Jimmy ends up playing here anyways. But I just thought it was funny to hear that. And it's so true when you see it, like how much the media roasts like anyone. They pick someone and they just rip them apart. So, but it was just funny to me that their own father's like, I don't want you playing in Boston,
And if you know his father, such a great guy. Years ago, battled cancer and got through it, pushed through. Just a very good sports guy. Like he's that sports dad, man. When we were playing with Jimmy and Kevin, he went from just like he went from great guy to talk to be like, man, I don't want to piss him off, that type.
Yeah.
And so he definitely has that drive in sports, but. Nonetheless, dude, just a great guy to talk to. If you saw him at Gerard's in Dorchester, like, you'd walk up to him, you could talk to him for an hour and he'd ask you about how everything was going. He knew your family. And, I think that's where Jimmy got it from. And, he had a great father to look up to and definitely lived up to his, to what his father is. It's just it sucks. It sucks to hear, growing up. I know back in the day, was it like 5th grade or something like that? He was way beyond his time. He used to set up so out in the out in the playground, we used to set up I told everyone I don't play football, know anything about it, but we used to set up like 3-on-3 like football games and stuff. And God, man, if we the way he set it up too, like if we weren't bloodied going back into school, like we didn't do our job. So
that's funny.
Again, just he brought everyone in. Like Jimmy was just like everyone, like a magnet. Like everyone in class wanted to talk to him. They want to be like him. Like you saw him and you just all the boys, all the girls too in the class would be like, Jimmy, what's going on? Like everyone wanted to be with him, So I'm so sorry for his passing, and it sucks. I can't imagine what Kevin's going through, and I really offer my condolences to the family. And
it's terrible. Like you go through life, and you never plan to lose a son or a daughter. No, you're the one that's supposed to go first when you have kids.
Right.
So it's terrible, and I hope his family's doing well.
Right, me too. So on that somber note,
let's do a shot for
Let's do a shot for Jimmy, and offer our condolences here. So, this episode 39 is to you, buddy. There you go.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers. Oh, it's good that I got a good nip for that, huh?
Yeah,
that was good.
All right.
Okay, let's send it off.
Yeah. What do we got next week? Do you think? What division are we going to? Just so the fans have something to look forward to.
Okay, so we did the Pacific. I was going to stay
Central?
West before, so
Central would be
Central?
next. Yeah.
Yep, Central.
All right,
next.
Central Division next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Peace.